Hey, everyone. Welcome to Unique Ways with Thomas Gerard, an audio podcast. Got a really great guest on today, and I'll describe her. She's an award-winning designer with years of experience as a graphic designer, art director, and brand consultant. She runs Until Sunday, encompassing the versatile work she does, whether it's crafting compelling and trustworthy brand stories for cutting-edge tech startups, leading innovative digital designs for global organizations, or illustrating a captivating book. Please join me in welcoming Chiara Aliotta. Welcome.
Hi, Thomas. So thank you for this beautiful introduction.
Are you ready for 20 questions?
Of course. Go
Great.
on.
Question one, tell me a little bit more about yourself. What do you do?
So my name is Chiara Aliotta. I am an Italian designer, and as you just said, I'm the founder of Until Sunday. It's my own design studio that I started in 2012. Yes, wow, it seems life. And I'm specialized in brand design, UI, UX design as well. And I work particularly for tech startups and not-for-profit organization. And I also define myself as strategic storyteller. In fact, I use storytelling a lot in my work, and not just as a creative tool, but also to keep clients online and help them shape and articulate their mission and vision. Beyond my design work, I also teach at universities. I also do run workshops focused on storytelling for designers. And I have an online course on Domestica called The Narrative Web, where I share insights and teach young designers about storytelling. And yeah, that's me in short.
Great. Just a note for the audience, if you guys are interested in other 2025 episodes, please check out the episode with Kareem Rashid. Question two, what's a key piece of knowledge that makes you different?
Wow, that's a great question. So he reminds me of Martin Meyer. He's a brand guru. I own his books and probably in shaping me to brand design myself before doing my master. But anyway, going back to the question, he talks about what's your zag, which is exactly your question. So I think what makes me different, so my zag is that I am a multidisciplinary designer with a strong roots in branding. But what really sets me apart is my ability to see every user interaction as part of a larger brand experience and not just as the isolated touch points. So my approach I usually approach each project as one of many interactions the user may have with a brand, whether it's a product or a website or a service. And this perspective is very much shaped by my background in brand design and influence how I work to create meaningful, cohesive experiences for my clients.
Great. So question three, why this of all things? Why do you do what you do?
It goes back to my childhood. I was born in a small city in Sicily, a place full of beauty, but also there are a lot of contradictions. So, growing up, I often looked for ways to help the people around me. And Sicily teaches you to be very resourceful. So we are natural problem solvers because we don't expect solution to come from above. And that kind of mindset shaped the way I see the world. And I always leave thinking there's always a better way to do things. And that try eventually led me to design. And I always been drawn to create things and think about more the 360 experience rather than just one thing at a time.
Great. Some people struggle with number four, and the question is, what does your future look like?
Yeah, I can imagine why they struggle. My future looks bright. Well, at least that's how I choose to see it. I try to live in the present as much as I can, but I also try to take steps to shape what comes next. In many ways, The future I once imagined is already here for me. I built my own studio, and I also created my own space here on the island where I live right now, and where I can work on projects that I really like and I care about. Looking ahead, I see myself gradually shifting more toward something related sharing my knowledge. So maybe teaching, writing, the more online courses, maybe more workshops. I want to help shape the next generation of designers. So if this is one way, probably that would be my future.
Great. Five we say is unique to this show. The question is, let's talk about location. How does the notion of place play into what you do?
Paris is right now is Greece. It's an island where I live, where I choose to live and spend my time and my and fund my own agency. And I live on an island and work remotely even before the digital nomad word was created, and also the reality of digital nomad. So for me, place is it's a physical environment. So the island where I live, where I can connect with people, but also place is the mental space where I can create and recharge. So it's not just a physical location, but it can also, it must be something that is able to fuel my creativity, whatever it's physical or not.
Great. Six, if you had to start from the beginning, what advice would you give your former younger self?
If I had to start from scratch, I will tell my former self to stand up more confidently for their work, especially in rooms where it wasn't always easy to be heard. I spent many years working for agencies and clients, and not all of them treated me with respect. Looking back, I would ask for that respect sooner. And another thing is, as a woman in tech, but most of all, not an engineer, but a designer, the path hasn't always been smooth. So my advice to my younger self would be never let anyone judge your work based on your gender, and defend your ideas because they are strong and not because you need to prove you belong.
Great. And seven, what's a day in your life like?
So my day usually starts very early. If the weather is warm, like it's right now, I go for a swim. Otherwise, I do Pilates or I go to ballet class. And in general, I like to begin my days with movement, and then followed by journaling and sometimes meditation, especially when I feel my mind is spinning and I need to reset. After that, I go for a walk. I go for a walk to my studio. And once there, I usually have my breakfast, make my cup of tea, check my to-do list. And while I have my breakfast, I read some articles. And then after that, my working day starts. I try to have a lunch break, usually by the sea. That's where my office is, by just 5 minutes walking. And then I continue the afternoon, sometimes with meetings or working. And finally, the evening, it's more about cooking, reading, and relaxing with my friends, or just my husband and my cat on the couch and watching maybe a movie.
Great. So lifelong learning is a popular topic. How do you stay up to date?
Yeah, lifelong learning is definitely important to me, and I try to stay up to date in a few different ways. So, as I told you, I usually read articles in the morning. My favorite reference is Machine Magazine, but I also have and follow some blogs on Medium and Substack. I also enjoy learning from fellow designers on LinkedIn, and I follow some of them too. Over the years, my work has become more structured, so this has given me the possibility to attend courses or even join conferences where I'm a speaker. And I still love reading books. I'm a little bit old school, maybe less, but I like to read 2 books per month. I also like reread books that I've read in the past, just because they have a completely different meaning now, the experience I gained during the last years. So yeah, so definitely this is one way I'll keep myself updated.
Great. And 9 is about tools. Do you use both digital and analog tools?
I use mostly digital because I am a digital nomad and I travel a lot for work. So I've been a digital nomad for over 15 years. So my laptop is probably the first thing I pack when I travel, along with my iPad. And as for tools, usually Figma is one of the main tools I use. I also use Adobe Creative Suite, of course, for other work that may be printed or they don't require, um, it's not related to web. Pitch for presentation and sometimes Keynote for my own presentation, and then tools like Slack, Google Drive, Dropbox, and iCloud because I collaborate remotely with a client. So I like to have things organized in one place where everybody can reach me and find the files. So these are some of the tools I use more often.
Great. And halfway number 10, how do you deal with work-life or life-work balance?
Yeah, as a creative person, work-life balance is really important for me. And in fact, I've learned the hard way that when my life is out of balance, creativity doesn't flow. And so I try to take proper breaks during the day, and I try to make time throughout the years to step away and reset. So, for example, this year I took a 3 week trip to Japan. It's a country that I really like, and as an aesthetic that I feel close to me. And so that trip really helped me to stay grounded and inspired for at least the rest of the year. Well, I hope so.
Great. And 11, if you weren't doing what you do now, what might you be doing?
Hmm. I think I'll still be creating experiences. Maybe maybe in the food industry, maybe I would be a sommelier. I like wine. I like drinking them. I like exploring their taste, or maybe cooking. I'm Italian, but it doesn't mean that because I'm Italian I like cooking. But in general, I like food a lot, and but mostly I like cooking for other people. So I also love spending time with children, and I'm inspired by how they see the world around. And sometimes I'm very jealous of my nephew who is 4 years old, and I like the spontaneity of his observations. So maybe yeah, probably one other thing I would do is writing story for children or design toys. But anyway, something playful and imaginative.
Great. And what would you not like to do with your career?
Mm, I think I wouldn't want to do anything that feels boring or disconnected. I wouldn't want to do work that only benefits myself. For me, in my work, what it really matter is purpose and impact. So I just want my work to contribute to something that's meaningful.
Great. And do you have a favorite word, quote, or sentence?
I do, and it's not of a designer, but it's from my one of my favorite actress, Audrey Hepburn. And I really like when the sentence where she play on words and says, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I am possible. And this quote speaks to my journey, especially as I mentioned before, I come from a small city in Sicily where being a designer wasn't seen as a realistic career. And I always had to push against the idea that something couldn't be done. And so that reminds me that imagination and perseverance can make things possible.
Great. And do you have a least favorite word, quote, or sentence?
Yes, I do. It cannot be done. That's something I've heard so much, especially from Greece. They have a way to say that in the Greek ones. It's the γίνεται, and that's a Greek word to say it cannot be done. And this is an answer usually I'm not, I mean, cannot accept as a final answer. If something seems impossible, I want to know why. And I also know throughout my career that with enough effort and creativity, most things can be done. So dismissing ideas without reasoning or without trying really goes against how I work or I live.
Great. And you're choosing one word to describe yourself. What word do you choose?
Creative. I know it's really not that original, but some people describe me as charming, the people who knows me deeply. But probably I would say creative. I I bring imagination and positive spirit to my work and my life, and probably this is what defines me the most. I know that I'm not perfect, and I know that creativity cannot solve everything, but definitely can help you see the world with new eyes. And so, yeah, creative is the word that would choose for myself.
Great. And what keeps you up at night?
Um, Sometimes there are thoughts or ideas or an unsolved problem from the day. It's funny because I often wake up in the middle of the night with a solution, and I have a notebook next to my bed to to write down some ideas. And if I'm too tired, which happens when I'm already mad, I whisper that idea to my husband, hoping he will remember in the morning. He won't. It will probably be sleeping most of the time, but I do, so that also works.
Great. And final stretch here. Do you have a dream you're chasing?
So one dream I'm chasing is to write a book about storytelling and design, and I love for it to lead to more teaching, workshop, even a master class. And another dream is to live in Japan for a few years. I'm learning the language. The more I learn about the country, I feel deeply connected to it. And so I love to experience life there. In many ways, I think I'm already living my dream, and these are just the next chapters.
Great. And what inspires you?
Um, Children, I want to spend time with them, but in general, everyday life, books, articles, and definitely traveling. Travel gives me the ability to see things with a new perspective. It helps me understand how people from different cultures approach life and try to solve their own challenges. So I like to see that because I realize there are many ways to see things, and so traveling definitely give you that kind of flexibility of thinking, that ladder of thinking that you won't find in everyday life.
Great. And last couple here. Number 19, any advice you'd like to share?
For other designers, I would say make time to be curious, make space to make mistakes and learn from them. And also, in general, I would say for young designers, don't feel you have to know everything. Find the time to find someone to teach you the things you don't know. So you start connection that really matters, and you will see growth happening.
Great. And finally, number 20, how can our listeners keep tabs on you and what's our call to action?
So you can find me on my website on my until Sunday chiara.it. You can follow me on LinkedIn as Chiara Aliotta. I also have a page on Instagram with my Until Sunday agency. And definitely one thing is if you want to stay updated and you want to know what I'm working next is to subscribe to my newsletter, The Sunday Pace, which is on my website. And of course, if you want starting your journey storytelling, you may want to try my course on domestica, the narrative web. And of course, if something in this podcast resonates with you, feel free to reach out with to my email, which is available on my website.
Great. Well, thanks so much for being on. It's super exciting to connect different parts of the world like this. I always get energized by it. So, thank you so much.
Thank you, Thomas. And thank you for this opportunity. And I'm so happy that we met even virtually. I hope there will be more occasion, maybe in person in the future.
Great. Thanks so much.